when you got into the business, did you focus on open houses a lot? What were some of the things that you focused on?
Great question. I had to do 2 open houses a week. And it's funny that you mentioned that because it's funny. I started with HER and I was doing a training and for new agents. And at this time she was, executive VP business development. She had like this fancy title and all this fancy jewelry and had sold all this real estate in another state and had all this success. So she's all trained. She's training a bunch of new agents, right? And she's like, "Oh, I hated open houses. I never did open houses as an established agent." And I was like, "That's really weird." Like this woman that's, there's 1,200. HER was a big brokerage at this time until they got bought out. But anyway, I'm like, this woman is telling us, a room of new agents, that she hated open houses. Well, if that's your mentality, right? That's one thing, but why would you share that with a group of new agents? So anyway, so I learned open houses. My very first listing, this is a true story. My very first listing I ever had was in Upper Arlington, and it was the third week in January, and it was as gray as can be. And I had a listing. I think it was like a $300,000 listing. It wasn't anything special. But it was going to make somebody a really nice, really nice place, right? So I put all my signs out. So one of those guys that puts again, hard work, right? So you have to put like the directional signs. If it's not super easy to get to, you might have to make 8 or 10 stops and put your sign there and then go on. So sometimes you have to get there an hour early, right? So I get to my open house about 10 minutes till, and this is February 2018. And there's literally a line of people get ready to get in the house, right? My first open house. Wasn't my first open house. Take that back. My first open house with my own listing. Okay.
Yeah.
So people come in left and right, everywhere. And then towards the end of the open house, right? This couple comes to me and said, "We want to buy this condo. We have a house to sell in Upper Arlington that's paid for. And if we can get this bought, we'd like you to help us sell our other house." I'm like, okay, sign right here. Signs. So I was like, that sounds great. Let me get this open house finished up. I'll give you a call. I gave him a call, went over to their house after my open house, looked at their house. We put together a value on their house. That night they went in contract on my listing, which was cool because I represented, represented them in the sale of their home in Upper Arlington. Interesting house. One of the oldest, maybe the oldest house in Upper Arlington, a farmhouse.
Oh, wow.
Built in 1901. And I don't think Arlington was incorporated until 1903. Pretty interesting backstory about that property in particular. But anyway, so I got a listing. People come in, they're like, "Yeah, we'll buy your listing." I'm like, "Awesome." Then I sold their house in Arlington. And then I also represented both sides on that other transaction. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but it lends itself to like doing the work, right? You've got to go to the open house. You have to talk to people. You have to capture your audience that's there. I mean, people are shopping when they come to open houses. They might have a house to sell in a year or two, and they could be interviewing you. You just don't know. You always have to put your best foot forward and work hard. And that was kind of my first couple weeks of actual.
Yeah. No, I mean, I with you just having the car sales background, that's something that I feel like would be so natural to you as far as, on the dealership, right? On the lot, you got people coming to you. You got 10 minutes to make sure you meet them, get their information, understand what their goals are, what they're trying to accomplish, and then capture all of the information before they leave, right? So I kind of had a feeling that open houses may have been something that you focused on early on because that is your wheelhouse. It's just a different product, right?
For sure. I think people focus too much on the product and not the people. Like if you take some time, and I will admit, I've never known much about cars. I know, like if somebody wants to know what, type of transmission it has. Like it's
Yeah.
automatic. I've never been a car guru. I've never been super interested in performance cars or any of that. But what I was good at is relationships, and in knowing my audience. And I think that's one of the things that people don't talk enough about. It's like if you know who you're talking to, who you're dealing with, then they will tell you how to sell them a product and how to close them. Like if you're working with an engineer, like you better, you know, better put your selling shoes on because you got your work cut out for you, because they're going to look at every number, they're going to look at every report, they're going to have a million and one questions because that's kind of how they're wired.
Yeah.
But if you get to know people, right? So if you know where they grew up, are they Ohio State fan? If they got Ohio State shirt on, oh, you're a Buckeye. Did you go to, did you go to Ohio State?
Yeah.
Get to be a friend first, right? And then, if they feel good about you as a friend, then you can advise them moving on. But I don't think people spend enough time getting to know people, getting to know their audience, and knowing what people do for work. Because if you know like their work, a lot of times that will tell you a lot about how they buy, how they negotiate, so forth. So
how did you get good at that? What did you do trainings? Were you big on that, or was it just experience? Or look, I believe some of that is just a born natural gift,
yeah,
for you,
so
like any advice or ideas for people that may want to learn more about how to be better in that area?
yeah, I mean, people buy from people that they like, right? People that they trust. So if you can get a common ground with people, I think that you build that relationship, they're far more likely to buy something from you, right? So
Yeah.
getting to ask them questions, a lot of people, I don't think in our industry ask enough questions.
Yeah.
Uh, they just provide, you know, CMAs, ask questions, get to know your people. So what got me better at that? That's a great question. So I used to spend a lot of time reading Grant Cardone. He's a car guy. He got started in the car business and now he's in real estate. But I got better, a lot better by reading his books. And then when I worked for Reichert Automotive, I had a 45-minute drive one way. So every day to and from, I would listen to his audio book. It's called, trying to remember, it's 101 closings or something, how to
Oh,
close 101 deals, or how to overcome 101 um, objections. So um, that's what I studied, how to overcome those objections, how to build relationships. And I did an internship for 2 years in life insurance in college, and a lot of that was relationship building and how to build relationships. So a little bit, obviously two polar opposites when it comes to like insurance and then the car business. But yeah, I did a lot of time like honing my craft. If somebody gave me an excuse why they're not buying a car, I had a for every one of them.
yeah.